Good evening, my dear friend. You know how they say, expect the unexpected? Well, my first day at the Coastal Research Station proved that adage true in the most delightful way. It all started with a phone call yesterday evening. I was just finishing up my packing, making sure I had everything ready for my first day, when my mobile rang. It was Dr. Elena Reeves, the director herself. "Sarah," she said, her voice warm but slightly harried. "I hope I'm not catching you at a bad time. I have a small favour to ask." My heart skipped a beat. A favour? From the director? On the eve of my first day? Dr. Reeves went on to explain that the station's trusty old research van, affectionately known as Old Bessie, was ready for pickup from a small coastal village called Seathorn. Would I mind terribly collecting it on my way in? Of course, I heard myself say, even as my mind whirled with questions. How would I get there? What if something went wrong? "Splendid," Dr. Reeves replied, sounding relieved. "There's a bus that'll take you right into Seathorn. Old Tom at the boatyard will hand over the keys. Oh, and Sarah. Bessie can be a bit particular about starting up. I'm sure Tom will fill you in." And with that cryptic comment, she wished me luck and ended the call, leaving me both excited and nervous about what the morrow would bring. So here I was, bright and early this morning, heading to the bus station instead of driving straight to my new job. As I settled into my seat on the bus, watching the familiar streets of our town give way to rolling countryside, I couldn't help but wonder what adventures awaited me in Seathorn. The bus ride itself was a journey through a changing landscape, rolling hills gradually giving way to glimpses of the sea, each turn in the road revealing a new shade of blue on the horizon. As we wound our way down to the coast, I found myself thinking about the path that led me here. It seemed almost surreal that my childhood fascination with tide pools and seashells had blossomed into a career studying our fragile coastal ecosystems. The thought both thrilled and humbled me. Seathorn, when we finally arrived, was a postcard come to life. Quaint cottages with weathered blue and white paint clung to the hillside, overlooking a small harbour where fishing boats bobbed gently in the late morning sun. The air was thick with the scent of salt and smoked fish, an aroma that spoke of centuries of maritime tradition. Following the directions I'd been given, I made my way to the old boatyard where the van awaited. The yard was a curious blend of past and present, half-finished hulls of traditional wooden boats stood alongside sleek, modern vessels. And there, parked between a stack of lobster pots and a pile of coiled ropes, was the truck. It was a sturdy-looking vehicle, clearly built for navigating rough coastal tracts. As I approached, I was greeted by an elderly gentleman. "Ah, you must be the new lass from the research station," he said, his voice as weathered as the driftwood scattered around the yard. He introduced himself as Tom, the former owner of the boatyard. "Come to collect Old Bessie, have you?" I nodded, slightly taken aback by the van's nickname. Old Tom chuckled at my expression. "Don't let the name fool you. Bessie's got a few years on her, but she knows these coastal roads better than any GPS. Just one thing to remember. She's got a bit of a quirk when it comes to starting." He then proceeded to explain, with a twinkle in his eye, that the van would only start when the radio was tuned to a specific frequency. "It's 91.7, he said. a little local station, been keeping fishermen company for decades. I must have looked skeptical because he laughed again. Go on, give it a try. You'll see. Sure enough, when I climbed into the driver's seat and turned the key, nothing happened. But the moment I tuned the radio to 91.7, the engine roared to life. And with it came the most curious radio show I'd ever heard. It was a mix of old sea shanties, weather reports that sounded more like poetry, and local news that bordered on friendly gossip. The host's voice was warm and slightly crackly, as if broadcasting from some timeless dimension where the sea and the shore met. As I sat there, acclimatizing to Bessie's unique personality, old Tom regaled me with tales of the village's history. He spoke of shipwrecks and smugglers, of record-breaking catches and storms that reshaped the coastline. Each story was a vivid reminder of the deep connection between the land, the sea, and the people who called this rugged coast home. I was so engrossed in his stories that I almost forgot the time. Realizing I needed to get back to the research station, I reluctantly bid old Tom farewell and set off, Bessie humming contentedly as the quirky radio station played softly in the background. The drive back was an adventure in itself. Bessie, true to old Tom's word, seemed to know every twist and turn of the coastal roads. We wound our way along cliff tops and through hidden valleys. At one point, I had to stop to let a family of ducks waddle across the road. The mother duck was leading her ducklings to some nearby reeds, their little bodies bobbing in and out of sight. I slowed Bessie, not wanting to startle them. It struck me then how much there was to observe and learn about this coastal ecosystem, even in the briefest of encounters. With a smile, I gently accelerated, leaving the duck family to their own adventures as I continued on to mine. As I finally pulled into the research station's car park, I felt a sense of accomplishment mingled with a touch of nervousness. The day had been so much more than a simple errand, but now the reality of my new job was setting in. Dr. Reeves was waiting for me, a warm smile on her face. I see you've successfully bonded with Old Bessie, she said, patting the van's hood affectionately. I couldn't help but laugh. We've come to an understanding, I replied, explaining about the radio quirk. Dr. Reeves nodded knowingly. Ah, yes, the voice of the coast. Been keeping our team company on long research trips for years. Did you know the host is a retired marine biologist? But come on, let me show you around. Your adventure with Bessie was just the beginning. As we walked into the station, the sea breeze carrying the promise of new discoveries, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. The quirky van, the charming village, old Tom's stories, and the mysterious radio station had all woven themselves into the fabric of this new chapter in my life. Now, as I prepare for my first full day of work tomorrow, I can hardly contain my excitement. I can't wait to explore more of the coast, to uncover its secrets and help preserve its wonders. And who knows, perhaps Bessie and her peculiar radio will lead me to even more adventures. Sweet dreams, my friend. May your own journeys be filled with unexpected joys and discoveries. And may you always find a friendly voice on the radio when you need it most. Good night.